Okay, Mom, can you tell us the history of the piano?
A bit.
Yeah,
Um, my mother, who did not have two pennies
yeah,
to rub together, got me piano lessons with a woman who I realize now was a Holocaust survivor.
wow.
She was very talented,
Mm-hmm.
but she would hum while she played. She played beautifully, but she did not hum beautifully. But and it's funny.
When you took your lessons, were they on that person's piano? Did you go to their house?
No, um, I think at the Brooklyn something or other of music, and first I did not like having to practice,
Yeah.
but my mother said I had to practice an hour every day.
How old were you? How old?
I think the first time I sat down at the piano, I was about 8 or 9.
Okay.
I hated it. I could be in the middle of a note,
Yeah.
but when that hour was up,
Goodbye,
that
good
door was
luck.
closed. And then I began to kind of like it a lot.
Is that because you could play songs at that point?
Played classical music
Yeah.
only. I did not play any popular music whatsoever.
What made you like it?
Oh, it wasn't a question at first
Mm-hmm.
of my wanting. My mother said, do it. And in those days, when your parents said to do something, you did it. So she was insisting. I practiced my hour every day faithfully.
Mm-hmm.
I began, as I became more skilled, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
I liked it more and more. So I would practice more and more. And
Were you using the upright that Grandma Pearl had in her apartment at that point?
no,
Yeah.
no,
What were you using?
I was using the piano that you have now.
How did you get that piano?
That's a very good question.
This is your delay technique.
But I can't, I don't know I don't know how my mother got that piano.
But your mom went looking for a piano, Grandma Pearl.
Um, I don't know how, because my mother had no money whatsoever. She was working 12-hour night duty at the Brooklyn Jewish Hospital.
Mm.
She was in charge of the 9th floor. She'd won a prize in obstetrical nursing.
Wow.
Oh, my mother was pretty smart there.
Oh, I know.
She should have been a doctor.
Mm.
She would have been a very good one.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very, very observant. But anyhow, after I started playing and became a little skilled at it, I enjoyed it very much.
But one day you came home and there was this piano sitting there? Or do you remember when you first saw the piano?
It was from my music teacher. No, I'm sorry, I do not.
Mm-hmm.
I'll,
But when you were 8 playing for the first time, it was on that piano?
was it on that piano? No, I think it was at the Brooklyn Music School
Mm-hmm.
that I first sat down at it.
Well, then how did you practice if you did not have a piano at home?
That's a good question.
Do you remember?
Because you certainly don't become skilled
Right.
at the piano unless you do practice. But the more I did, the more I enjoyed it. It was wonderful, except I preferred to play the piano than do my homework.
Did your mother insist you do your homework for an hour a day?
She didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a matter of pride.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get an A.
Right.
As I grew older, and your father could attest to this, right here, I used to take exams in school,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sure I flunked every time. I would sit and cry, and my mother used to tell your dad, she'll be okay, just don't talk to her. Don't talk to June just yet. And he was smart. Your dad listened to my mother. He listened to her about a lot of things, including business.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad had a lot of respect for my mother.
As he should.
And his mother was no slouch either.
Mm-hmm.
She just did not have any opportunity whatsoever. Her brothers left one night from Russia, and she woke up the next morning alone. She's about 3 years old.
Mm.
Is that horrible?
Well, she had her parents, right?
I don't think they were alive.
Who was taking care of her then?
An old woman they left her with. And unfortunately, she died very soon after they left.
And then who took care of her?
I don't know. I think she was brought to the United States somehow.
I think I remember seeing the documents. It was in the 1920 maybe, or sometime after that.
Well,
But why would her parents be dead when she was 3? What happened to them?
when she was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
So girls were really a detriment. At that time, they didn't go to work, except in the factories. And that was a crying shame. I didn't realize for many years that your grandmother was really a very, very intelligent woman.
But we don't know what happened to her parents.
No, we do not.
Huh.
At least I do not.
Right.
Your father's parents were brought over to the States by the family before World War II. I think so.
Oh yeah, his immigration thing says like 1920, I think. Before Poland was a country. That's why we can't get secondary citizenship there, because he left before he got their countryhood.
Well,
So.
the grandfather used to tell me one morning he would wake up and he lived in Poland. The next morning he could wake up and he lived in Russia.
Hmm.
So he called it Rus Poland.
Hmm.
And, they were very Semitic.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very lucky that they came to the States. My father's older brother was crippled in a pogrom.
Mm.
They injured his leg very badly, and it was a shame. He was the sweetest person you could ever want to meet. And he must have loved me
Mm-hmm.
because he was then, when I was married already, and lived on Hillside Avenue, where your father practiced.
Mm-hmm. Queens, New York.
He used to come, and his my cousins, they were bandits. And I used to say, "Stay still,"
Mm.
and I would make them stand still, because otherwise I never knew what they would do.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up to be very nice people.
Go back to the piano. So you had this piano growing up in Brooklyn, and it stayed in an apartment? Were you living in a house or an apartment then?
I'm trying. House.
In a house.
By then, my mother lived in a house in Surrey Place in Queens.
Yeah. So the piano moved from Brooklyn to Queens?
I guess so. Because the piano was in Queens. And when your dad and I married, that piano came
Mm-hmm.
with me
Into that
when we
office?
bought the house.
Oh, okay.
It was too big
Yeah.
for the office, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it was very relaxing. And you, David, you used to crawl
Mm-hmm.
around the legs of the piano. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It was so cute.
Mm-hmm.
I looked down, and there you were. My little.
I sometimes see our dogs crawling around the floor when I'm playing something instrument. Not quite the same.
Well, that was you. Well, when we were at the house in Dix Hills, crawling around the piano when I would play. And because I wanted to practice, and it was night,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want the children up, that's for sure.
Mm.
I tried to play as soft as I could,
Mm.
you know, and I would
Hard to
pedal
do.
down.
Yeah.
And there you'd be,
Mm-hmm.
creeping around,
Go figure.
keeping me company.
Mm-hmm. Just like my friend right here.
Pardon?
Just like this guy. The dog.
The dog looks asleep.
You had a big day.
How are Jennifer's parents?
They're doing well.
Good.